Hey book club, Dan here from One Man Book Club with a book I'm certain you've heard of. I bet not many of you have actually read it. This is A Tale of Two Cities by the indomitable Charles Dickens. Now this might have been the hardest book I have ever read. And I have read a lot of hard books. Now I don't mean the content was hard, I mean the blasted words were hard. But listen, getting through the words was part of the battle, and it made conquering this brilliant tale of historical fiction, which was written 163 years ago, about events that happened 233 years ago, all that much sweeter in the end. So tip one for you for reading A Tale of Two Cities: read it. It's worth the effort. Now, I always say you don't review classics. You just take them for what they offer and share how they impacted you. Now, I finished A Tale of Two Cities just recently, and oh my goodness, I am most certainly impacted. Aside from the famous opening line, okay, let's all say it together, just get out of the way. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Aside from that, I pretty much knew nothing about A Tale of Two Cities. I mean, I think I knew it was about London and Paris, maybe? But that's honestly about it. The friends told me I needed to read it. They assured me it was the greatest book ever written. I wanted to read more classics this year. Dickens was a gap for me. Everything fit. This was it. It was time, so I jumped in. And quickly realized I probably should have waded into the shallow end first. Now, I had no trouble with A Christmas Carol, which is the only other Dickens I can claim. This book was just, like I said, so hard to read. So tip two for reading A Tale of Two Cities: use Spark Notes. The first few chapters are especially rough. They had me questioning the sanity of my friends. But once the story got going and the characters were introduced, and with a little help from Spark Notes and my onboard dictionary on my Kindle, I got the hang of Victorian era historical fiction. And of course, now I'm super smart. So yeah, tip three, don't give up. I'm so glad I pushed through, and I'm glad I went in perfectly tabula rasa. I was so joyously surprised with what I discovered. Dickens' tale, the one he himself called his best, is a complex story of love, of redemption, all set in the backdrop of the French Revolution. Now, as a historical event, the French Revolution is terribly complex, and it's simultaneously an example of humanity's highest and lowest moments. Dickens glosses over all of the nuances and reasons of the French Revolution. So don't read this as a conclusive finale or final version of what happened in the history. But from the storming of the Bastille to the reign of terror that is described, I found it just perfectly fascinating to read a history of the events from a unique perspective of an 1860s Londoner, Charles Dickens, who was looking backwards into his own history. Now, Dickens' characters rule the day. When I say the stories about love, I'm talking about the kind of deep, abiding, selfless, true love between father and daughter, husband and wife, the really powerful kind of love. And when I say the stories about redemption, I am talking about the basement to ceiling, zero to hero, all is lost to all is found, analogous to Jesus Christ kind of redemption. The really powerful kind. This is the stuff amazing characters are made of. And these are some of the best you're going to find in literature. I mean, it's no wonder Charles Dickens was the most popular author of his day, and his stories have endured into ours. I was especially intrigued by the acceptance and care given by family and friends to another who dealt with mental illness. that's in a story from 1859. I mean, the treatment seemed out of its time and was really inspiring. I also can't help but make connections to this certain book that currently sits on my greatest of all time shelf and now needs to slide over and make room for a new book, Les Miserables. A Tale of Two Cities was published in 1859. Les Miserables was published in 1862. They were only published 3 years apart. One was written by a Londoner, the other by a Parisian. Both tell powerful stories of love and redemption. Both set during the French Revolution. Both feature hero figures who began as low as possibly can be and finish triumphant in the end. Both feature a father and daughter relationship that makes this dad of daughters get all misty-eyed with memory and hope. I used to have a favorite book character of all time. Now I have two. Jean Valjean from Les Miserables and Sidney Carton from A Tale of Two Cities. The other big difference, it took Victor Hugo 1,200 pages. Dickens got it done in 430. I'm telling you, the coincidences, though, are uncanny. And they're making this book nerd lose sleep. I mean, geez, I feel like I just need to go write a college term paper and then I need to go get a life. But anyway, tip 4 for reading A Tale of Two Cities, the first rule of book club is no spoilers. Now, more than anything else, I love stories that surprise me with the unexpected. And I was shocked, seriously shocked to discover more twists, red herrings, and intricate foreshadowing packed into this wonderful story than in any book I've ever read. I laughed, I cried, I had to put my jaw up off the floor more than once. And when I was done, I wanted to start over and go back and look for all the clues that I know were there, but I missed the first time. So read it, and make sure you pass it on to your friends. But reading A Tale of Two Cities gives you access to a pretty elite club. And the first rule of the elite book club is don't spoil the book. Tip 5, the final tip. It gets easier as it goes. A Tale of Two Cities was a profound reading experience. Like I have told you, it was so hard to read. And I suspect that is a deterrent. And that's why a lot of people have not read A Tale of Two Cities past that first famous line, the best of times, worst of times. I did find it easier as it went along. By the end, I was relying on Spark Notes less and less. So if you have an interest in being profoundly moved, if you're looking for a book challenge, if you want to add a feather to your cap, if you've tried before but have given up, if you haven't yet, but you want to. If you want to know what it was the best of times, it was the worst of times actually means, go read A Tale of Two Cities. Come join the club. There are no content concerns as far as sexual content or language. There is non-gory violence because this is the French Revolution and it's the guillotine and it's, stuff like that. Plus it's the fact that it's super hard to read. So Tale of Two Cities, I'll say, is best for really ambitious high schoolers, 16 and up, say. But it's an amazing experience if you can get through it, which it's worth the effort, I promise. This is A Tale of Two Cities. I was impacted. I loved the book. Happy reading, everyone.